r/ProRevenge.
Trash your own manager and department. You get to do a presentation. True story, names changed, years ago, yada, yada, yada. Chad was an engineer with a planning and support department for a portion of his company's infrastructure that impacted virtually every other part of the company. Unfortunately, Chad was a real asshole. During less than a year with the company, he had thoroughly trashed everyone in his department to anyone who would listen. He talked about their incompetence, their screw-ups, which were generally minor, and most importantly their failure to properly support the very mission-critical infrastructure they were responsible for. Every hiccup that occurred, however minor, was used as ammunition. What Chad told everyone who would listen eventually made it up to managers and directors throughout the company. That wasn't enough though. Chad made the mistake of trashing his own director who was also his manager. Over the next few months there was no one even remotely involved with his department who didn't know what Chad was doing, including that manager. Chad's manager and director was Tim, a pretty crappy manager by most measures. He paid about 40% less than the industry average and had a staff of B and C players because of it, but he nevertheless expected absolute dedication from that staff. If he could have had them wash his car and pick up his dry cleaning, those things would have been added to their job descriptions. Tim was also pretty poor when it came to understanding what his own staff did and routinely made things up about their work while talking to other people. Everyone involved knew he was full of crap because what he said made no sense at all. Most rolled their eyes, but people also knew that Tim was a force to be reckoned with. Despite his shortcomings as a manager, the one place Tim excelled was corporate politics. He was able to consistently come through failures without a scratch when those failures would have sidelined anyone else. Tim would deftly play opponents off one another, then stand back and watch the fireworks. He had been at it for years and seemed to have a Teflon coating. Crap that stuck to everyone around him would slide right off. Tim, of course, knew exactly what Chad had been saying. Eventually Chad's trashing of his own department became so severe and their reputation so tarnished that a large directors' meeting was called to discuss the situation. The other department directors were out for blood. Enter Tim's ProRevenge. Tim tasked Chad, the very person responsible for the company gossip that resulted in the high-level meeting, with the job of putting together and then presenting a formal defense against his own gossip. Chad had to spend the next couple of weeks creating a formal presentation and repeatedly submitting it to Tim for approval. The meeting rolled around and Chad was forced to stand up in front of a large group of company directors and managers and formally defend his own manager and department. Everyone at the meeting knew they were only there because of what Chad had been saying, and they sat back and watched him tear himself apart and prove the things he himself had been telling everyone were flat-out lies. Of course, Tim and his department came through completely unscathed, but Chad was thoroughly discredited throughout the company and knew it. He left that company for another within 6 months of that meeting and last was heard badmouthing everyone involved with his new company. Dr. Chad was an engineer who trashed everyone around him, including his own department manager. That manager was a master at corporate politics and required Chad to formally defend him and his department in a directors' meeting that was only called because of what Chad had been saying. Chad stood up at the meeting and essentially had to prove that everything he had said about his own department was a lie, completely discrediting himself throughout the company and forcing his departure shortly thereafter.
A response to the post.
Wow, that revenge is sweet, especially if people are as narcissistic and entitled as this guy.
A response to the post.
We can only pray Teflon Tim doesn't end up going into politics. Imagine the damage he could do to every Chad out there. Wowzers. Please defend your trashing of your own department to every big wig at the company. That's like Game of Thrones level backstabbing, corporate style.
OP's response to this comment.
It is absolutely the most beautiful pro-revenge I have ever seen. What happened at that meeting was known by damn near everyone even connected to the company within 24 hours. Most of us heartily approved and were thoroughly entertained.